You've arrived at CozySideAudio, where dreams begin with a story. Whether you're studying, journaling, or just chilling, this one's for you. If you vibe with this kind of content, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe for more.
CozySideAudio presents The Phantom Files, the carnival that wasn't there yesterday. Chapter 1. Empty Lot. I pressed my sneaker into the cracked dirt and heard the crunch of something dry and brittle. The old lot at the edge of town always smelled like weeds baking in the sun. Just weeds. Just dust. Just empty space. That's why it always gave me the creeps. Nothing ever changed here, not for years. Don't slow down now, Adam Crink called behind me, his voice carried across the wide, flat lot like a whistle. If we keep moving, we can cut at least 10 minutes off the walk. I turned and watched him jog to catch up. Adam's blonde hair stuck up in messy spikes, like he had just rolled out of bed and decided brushing it wasn't worth the effort. His blue eyes gleamed like he was already daring me to admit I was spooked. I wasn't slowing down, I said quickly, my voice cracked. Great. I sounded guilty, even though I wasn't. Adam grinned. Right, sure. You totally weren't slowing down because of the haunted lot. I shoved my hands into the pockets of my hoodie. The breeze blew dust across my shoes, scattering little whirlwinds around my ankles. It's not haunted, I muttered. It's just weird. Adam stretched his arms wide, turning in a slow circle as he walked. Yeah, weird. Creepy. Haunted. All the same thing. Not the same thing. He ignored me and squinted toward the far side of the lot. The chain-link fence stood crooked and bent, broken in two places where kids had probably tried climbing through. On the other side stretched rows of dark trees, no houses, no buildings, just empty woods. Adam shivered dramatically. You know what I heard? I sighed. No, and I'm not sure I want to. He didn't wait for my answer, of course not. Adam never did. I heard the old carnival used to set up here, before we were born, way back, but something happened. Something bad. His voice dropped low. One year, people went missing. A whole family, nobody ever found them. The carnival packed up and left, and it never came back. I rolled my eyes. You probably read that on some creepypasta site. Adam grinned wider. Nope, heard it from my dad. Your dad also told you once that if you eat Pop Rocks and drink soda, your stomach explodes. Adam clutched his stomach and staggered dramatically, pretending to pop like a balloon. Then he laughed so hard he almost tripped. I shook my head. Adam laughed at everything. Jokes, warnings, ghost stories. Even when something wasn't funny, he laughed like it was. That was the difference between us. He laughed at everything. I noticed everything. And right now, I noticed the lot felt too quiet. Too still. No cars drove by on the road. No birds chirped in the trees. The air was heavy and hot, like the whole world was holding its breath. You feel that? I asked. Adam stopped laughing long enough to tilt his head. Feel what? The air. I cut myself off. How could I explain it? The air didn't feel like air. It felt like something waiting. We hurried across the lot, our footsteps crunching on dry weeds. I told myself it was stupid to feel nervous. It was just a field. Just dirt. Just emptiness. But when I glanced down, my sneaker sank into the dirt, deeper than it should have. Like the ground was soft, like it wanted to pull me down. I yanked my foot free. Dust sprayed my jeans. Problem? Adam asked. No, I said quickly, too quickly. We walked faster. At the far end of the lot, we reached the broken fence. I ducked through the gap and brushed dirt off my hoodie. Adam slipped through after me. As soon as we stepped onto the sidewalk, the air felt lighter, like we had escaped something. I turned back once more. The lot stretched behind us, empty, lifeless. But my chest tightened. Because I could swear the dust swirled in shapes like faces. At dinner that night, Mom set a plate of spaghetti in front of me and smiled. Her brown hair curled over her shoulders, and she hummed a tune I didn't recognize. "You boys didn't take the long way home again, did you?" Dad asked. He sat across from me, twirling his fork, his dark eyes serious. "That lot's not safe. Nails, glass, all kinds of junk, sir." "No," I said quickly. Yeah," Adam added with his mouth full. He had come over for dinner again. He spent more time at our house than at his own. Dad raised an eyebrow. "You're lying. You've got dirt all over your sneakers." I froze. Adam swallowed his mouthful and grinned. "Sorry, Mr. Hand. We were just saving time." Dad frowned. "Time's not worth getting tetanus." "Tetanus," Adam repeated, wiggling his fingers like he was casting a spell. "Sounds like a zombie disease." "Adam," Mom said with a laugh. Dad didn't laugh. I dropped my eyes to my plate. I thought about the lot, the stillness, the soft ground, the faces in the dust. I almost told them, I almost said, "Something's wrong with that lot." But the words stuck into my throat. Because it sounded ridiculous. And maybe it was. Maybe I had just imagined it. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The streetlight outside flickered through my curtains. I told myself it was nothing, but I couldn't stop thinking about the lot. And when I finally drifted to sleep, I dreamed of carnival lights, flickering, flashing, twisting in the dirt, and faces. So many faces, all pressed against glass, all staring at me. Chapter 2. The lights appear. The next evening, I trudged down the front steps, yawning so hard my jaw popped. "Where are you going?" Mom called from the kitchen window. "Adam's," I said. She wiped her hands on a towel and leaned out the window. "Be back before dark, Dalton, and don't go cutting across that lot again." "I won't," I lied. She gave me the look, the one that meant "I don't believe you, but I don't feel like arguing right now." Then she disappeared back inside. I jogged down the street toward Adam's house. The sun had already dipped behind the trees, leaving the sky streaked orange and purple. The air buzzed with cicadas. The sidewalks were empty. Everyone must have been eating dinner. Everyone except Adam. He was waiting for me on his porch, bouncing a basketball. "Took you long enough," he said, grinning. "You don't even like basketball." "I like dribbling. It makes me sound athletic." I shook my head. "You're impossible." He tossed the ball behind him. It hit the porch railing and rolled into the bushes. "Want to walk?" "Where?" Adam shrugged. "Anywhere around," stretched the legs. I hesitated. I still remembered the faces in the dust, the lot, the stillness. But if I told Adam I didn't want to pass by it again, he'd never let me live it down. So I just muttered, "Sure." We headed down the sidewalk, talking about nothing school, video games, whether or not aliens would ever bother with our town. The air grew cooler as night slipped in. Street lamps flickered on. And then, "Wait," Adam whispered, stopping dead. "What?" "Listen." At first, I only heard the cicadas, a car in the distance. And then, music. Faint at first, a cheerful jingle, tinny, like it was being played on an old carousel organ. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum. It drifted through the trees. My chest tightened. No, Adam's eyes widened. No way. We sprinted to the corner and turned down the block. The lot came into view. And I froze. It wasn't empty anymore. Not even close. Bright lights spun and whirled against the night sky. Red, blue, green. A Ferris wheel towered above the trees, its cars glowing like lanterns. Cotton candy clouds drifted through the air, sweet and sticky. Booths lined the edges of the lot, striped in red and white, each with flashing signs promising games, prizes, fun. People were already streaming inside. Kids from our school, parents from our street, Laughter and music blended into a dizzy swirl. Adam gasped. It's a carnival, I finished weakly. We're on the same lot we had walked across yesterday. The same broken fence, the same cracked dirt. And now this. An entire carnival. How? Adam's voice cracked. He rubbed his eyes like he was trying to make sure it wasn't a trick. How did this get here? I couldn't answer. Because I didn't know. We stepped closer. The entrance arch glittered with lights. A banner waved overhead. The Wandering Wonder Carnival. I swallowed hard. The letters seemed to shimmer, shifting every time I blinked. For a second, I thought they spelled something else, something I couldn't quite read. Dalton! I turned. Mom and Dad were waving from the sidewalk. Adam's parents were with them. Mom's eyes sparkled like she was a little kid again. Isn't this amazing? We were just talking about how the lot should be used for something fun, and look. It's like they read our minds. Dad grinned in a way I didn't like. Too wide. Come on, son. Let's go check it out. Adam's dad clapped him on the shoulder. I hear the games are free. Can you believe that? Free. Free. Adam's eyebrows shot up. Free food too, Adam's mom added. All you can eat. Adam turned to me. His grin stretched from ear to ear. Best night ever. I forced a smile, but my stomach twisted. Best night ever? Or worst? The moment we stepped inside, the smell hit me. Popcorn, caramel, fried dough, sweet and heavy. Kids darted past us, clutching candy apples bigger than their heads. Parents laughed and waved from the ride lines. A clown on stilts tossed balloon animals into the crowd. The whole place shimmered. The lights, the colors, the sounds. It was too much. Too perfect. Let's hit the Ferris wheel first, Adam said, grabbing my arm. Come on. We joined the line, which moved surprisingly fast. No waiting, none at all. By the time we climbed into our seat, my heart was thudding in my chest. No. The wheel jerked to life. Up, up we went. The town shrank below us. The lights of the carnival spread out like jewels on black velvet. Adam leaned over the edge, laughing. This is insane. Where did all this even come from? I didn't answer. Because from up here I could see the edges of the lot. And the carnival didn't stop at the fence. It stretched farther. Much farther. Beyond the trees. Beyond the road. The lights seemed to go on forever, spiraling out into the darkness like a maze with no end. And when I blinked, for just a second, I swore I saw faces in the lights, staring back at me. I gripped the safety bar. My palms were slick. Adam leaned closer. You okay? I opened my mouth to answer. But the Ferris wheel jerked again, and the lights below flickered. The music slowed. For one long, horrible second, the carnival went dark. Pitch black. No laughter, no rides, no sound. Just silence. And then screams. Chapter 3. The Perfect Night. The carnival was alive. Dalton Hand had never seen anything like it. One day, the lot had been nothing but cracked pavement and weeds. The next, it pulsed with music and light, as though it had always been there, waiting. He and Adam Crink stood frozen at the entrance, their sneakers glued to the gravel as they stared wide-eyed at the chaos before them. Neon lights buzzed and blinked in dizzying patterns, rides twisted and whirled, game booths called out with sing-song voices. The air was thick with the buttery scent of popcorn, the sugary fog of cotton candy, and something else, something floral and sweet that Dalton couldn't quite place, like lilacs blooming in the wrong season. Dude, Adam breathed, his face split with a grin. This is insane. Tell me you knew about this. Dalton shook his head, still trying to drink it all in. His chest fluttered like the place was pumping static straight into his veins. No way. This wasn't here yesterday. Behind them, Mr. and Mrs. Hand ambled closer, each carrying a paper bag of something fried. Their faces were uncharacteristically bright, as if they had been here before and couldn't wait to share the secret. "This is amazing," Mrs. Hand said, her voice light, almost dreamy. "I feel like a kid again." Dalton's father, usually so straight-laced and serious, actually laughed at a joke cracked by a balloon vendor. "Go on, boys," Mr. Hand called, motioning them forward with the bag of food. "Have some fun. We'll catch up." Dalton blinked at them. When was the last time his dad had encouraged fun? Normally he worried about homework, curfews, chores, but tonight his voice had been strange, thicker, heavier, almost rehearsed. Adam didn't seem to notice. He clapped Dalton on the shoulder, eyes darting toward the glowing orange roller coaster that twisted high above the tree line. "You heard the man. Let's hit the rides before the lines get nuts." Dalton hesitated, casting a glance back at his parents. They were already drifting deeper into the crowd, their heads bobbing in unison to the music. "Dalton," Adam hissed, tugging him forward. "Come on." The coaster was called the Whirlwind, and the sign above it flashed in jagged electric letters. The track spiraled up and up, impossibly tall for a ride that hadn't existed the night before. The boys climbed into the rattling car, Dalton's stomach already turning somersaults. The metal lap bar locked into place with a jolt. "Man, this thing looks like it's held together with duct tape," Adam said with a nervous laugh. Dalton gripped the bar tighter. "Yeah, totally safe." The car jerked forward, chains clanking as they climbed. Dalton's ears popped as they rose higher and higher until the fairground below looked like a patchwork of lights and colours. "Whoa," Adam whispered. "This is nuts." The drop came without warning. Dalton's stomach lurched as the car plummeted straight down, twisting into loops that sent his vision spinning. He screamed until his throat burned, Adam whooping wildly beside him. The ride whipped them through corkscrews, dives, and turns so sharp, Dalton thought the car would snap off the rails. And then, smoothness. The car glided as though it floated on air. No jerks, no rattles, just flawless motion, impossible motion. When they stumbled off the ride, Dalton's knees wobbled, but a laugh bubbled out of his chest. His face hurt from smiling. "That," Adam panted, "was the greatest ride of my life." A man in a striped vest appeared out of nowhere, his shadow long and sharp beneath the carnival lights. He tipped his hat toward Adam, his teeth glinting in the glow. "A prize for you, young sir," he said in a sing-song voice, his words almost a hum. Before Adam could respond, the man pressed a stuffed bear into his arms. The bear's fur was deep brown, its button eyes glossy. Adam laughed, hugging it to his chest. Dalton reached out without thinking, brushing the toy with his fingers. He froze. The bear was warm, too warm, like skin. For a split second, he swore he felt it inhale. Dalton yanked his hand back. "Did you—" But Adam was already walking away, swinging the bear by its arm. "Free stuff, man. This place rules." Dalton shook his head, trailing after him. They darted from game to game, and each time the odds bent in their favour. Adam tossed rings onto every bottleneck. Dalton knocked down the entire pyramid of cans with a single throw. Each win brought another prize. A toy car that seemed to purr when Dalton touched it. A yo-yo that spun longer than physics should allow. A deck of cards with shifting symbols on their faces. At the ring toss, Dalton managed a perfect score, every ring clinking around the bottles like they had been magnetized. The game master clapped his hands, his grin stretching far too wide. "For you!" he cried, thrusting a goldfish in a plastic bag into Dalton's hands. Dalton frowned down at it. The water sloshed, heavy and dense, far more than it should have been for its size. The fish swam slowly, its fins dragging like curtains. And then its eyes met his. It didn't blink, didn't look away. Dalton's chest tightened. He could swear the fish was studying him. "Dude, you're killing it," Adam said, clutching his bear. "Man, this is the perfect night." Dalton forced a laugh. "Yeah, perfect." But unease prickled the back of his neck. As they walked toward the Ferris wheel, Dalton spotted his parents near the carousel. They clapped along to the music, their faces frozen in identical grins. His mum's eyes were wide, unblinking, her hands moving in stiff, jerky patterns. His dad swayed to the music, his head bobbing in exact time with the carousel's tune. It wasn't just them. Dalton's gaze swept the crowd. Everywhere he looked, faces smiled too widely, eyes glazed like frosted glass. Their laughter rang sharp and tinny, overlapping in eerie harmony. Even kids he knew from school, kids who usually shoved each other or groaned at their parents, stood in line politely, smiling as though painted with the same brush. Dalton's skin crawled. "Adam," he whispered, tugging his friend's sleeve. "Something's wrong. Look at my parents. Look at them." Adam snorted. "You're being paranoid. Everyone's just having fun." He spun, eyes locking on the towering Ferris wheel. Its lights blinked in hypnotic circles, green to red to blue. "That's our next stop." Dalton swallowed hard. He looked down at the fish in his hands. Its gills fluttered as it drifted closer to the edge of the bag, staring straight at him. Its mouth opened and closed, soundlessly. Dalton held his breath. Then he heard it. A whisper, the faintest voice, muffled by water. "Dalton." His heart stopped. The fish's glassy eyes gleamed under the neon lights. Its mouth opened again, and the whisper brushed his ear like a secret he was never meant to hear. "Dalton, I know you." Chapter 4. The First Game. Dalton's ears still rang with the whisper. The goldfish's tiny mouth opened and closed, but the voice hadn't come from inside the bag. It had come from everywhere and nowhere, curling into his ears like smoke. "Dalton, I know you." He wanted to hurl the bag to the ground, stomp it flat, and run until the carnival lights were nothing but a glow on the horizon. But Adam was already tugging his arm, dragging him toward the Ferris wheel. "Let's go," Adam said, grinning like he hadn't noticed a thing. "Front row. We'll see the whole town." Dalton shoved the fish into his hoodie pocket, the water sloshing against his stomach. He could feel it pulsing, like the bag itself had a heartbeat. As they wove through the crowd, Dalton kept glancing around. Every face he passed carried that too wide grin, eyes glassy, movements stiff as mannequins. Even the voices sounded strange. Cheerful, yes, but flat, like everyone was laughing at the same joke on repeat. His parents were still by the carousel. Their hands clapped in rhythm with the organ music. Neither of them blinked. Dalton's stomach turned. "Adam," he whispered, lowering his voice, "something's wrong with them. With all of them." Adam rolled his eyes. "You're just wigged out because of that fish. Relax, dude. Everyone's just having fun. That's the point." Dalton opened his mouth to argue, but a sudden voice rang through the carnival, deep and booming. "Step right up," it cried. "The first game is about to begin." The music cut off. The lights dimmed. For a split second, the carnival fell silent. Then the crowd erupted, clapping and cheering in unison. Dalton's skin crawled. He turned toward the source of the voice. At the very center of the fairground, a circle of light blossomed on the cracked asphalt. A stage rose from the ground as if the earth itself were lifting it up. Red and white striped curtains parted, and a man in a black top hat stepped into view. The ringmaster. He was tall, impossibly tall, his shadow stretching across the crowd like claws. His coat shimmered, tails dragging the ground though they never seemed to get dirty. His face was half hidden by the brim of his hat, but Dalton could feel his eyes sweeping across the audience, hot as a spotlight. "Ladies and gentlemen," the ringmaster purred, his voice both velvet and steel. "Boys and girls, tonight, as with every night, the carnival invites you to play." The crowd cheered again, louder, voices blending into one perfect roar. Dalton noticed that no one looked at each other while they clapped. Their eyes never wavered from the stage. The ringmaster raised one gloved hand. "The first game," he declared, "is a simple one." The lights flared. Booths that hadn't been there seconds before blinked into existence along the edges of the circle. Ball toss, balloon darts, shooting galleries, a dozen others. Dalton blinked. He knew these games. Everyone did. But these didn't look normal. The rings gleamed like they were made of bone. The balloons pulsed as though they had veins. The tin cans in the shooting gallery rattled, their eyes swiveling to follow the crowd. Dalton grabbed Adam's sleeve. "Do you see that? Tell me you see that." Adam hesitated. For the first time all night, his smile faltered. Yeah, that's weird." The ringmaster's voice boomed again, drowning out everything. "Each player receives one turn. Each winner receives a prize. Each prize belongs to you, forever." The last word stretched, echoing like it wasn't meant for human ears. The crowd erupted once more, cheers thundering, hands clapping in eerie unison. Dalton looked at his parents. Their faces were still locked in grins, their hands striking together in perfect rhythm. His mom's eyes flickered in the light. For a second, he thought he saw something moving behind them, like her pupils weren't pupils at all, but tiny spinning wheels. His stomach flipped. "Dalton Hand!" The sound of his name cracked across the stage like a whip. Dalton's knees buckled. He hadn't raised his hand. He hadn't volunteered, but the ringmaster's shadowed gaze locked on him all the same. "Step right up, young sir," the ringmaster crooned, gesturing with a sweep of his hand. "The first game awaits." The crowd parted instantly, leaving a clear path to the stage. Hundreds of glassy eyes turned toward Dalton. Every smile stretched wider. Adam hissed in his ear, "Dude, you don't have to go, just don't." But Dalton felt his legs moving on their own. His sneakers scraped against the asphalt, carrying him forward. No matter how hard he tried to stop, his body wouldn't listen. His arms swung stiffly at his sides like puppet strings pulled tight. The closer he got to the stage, the heavier the air became. His chest burned, his throat tightened. The fish in his hoodie pocket writhed against his ribs, whispering so fast now it was like static. "Dalton! Dalton! Dalton!" The ringmaster spread his arms as Dalton stumbled up the steps. Yes, our first brave player. Ladies and gentlemen, let the game begin." A booth appeared before Dalton, taller than any carnival booth should be, striped curtains hanging like tongues. A pyramid of cans sat stacked on the counter, but the cans weren't cans at all. They were faces. Dalton staggered back. Each tin was shaped into a distorted human face, eyes rolling, mouths opening and closing in silent screams. They shifted in place, straining against the stack. The ringmaster handed Dalton a baseball. The leather was slick, sticky. Dalton looked down and nearly dropped it. It was wet with blood. "Knock them down," the ringmaster whispered in his ear. His voice wasn't sound at all, but a vibration that crawled straight into Dalton's skull. "Knock them down and win your prize." The crowd cheered in unison, clapping, stomping, chanting, "Throw, throw, throw." Dalton's arms shook. His knees buckled. He wanted to scream, to run, but the word "throw" pounded into his brain with every clap of the crowd. He raised the ball, his fingers slipping on the blood-slick leather. The faces in the cans twisted toward him, mouths stretching open, voices rising in a chorus only he could hear. "Don't, don't, don't." Dalton squeezed his eyes shut. His arm snapped forward. The ball flew. The cans exploded with a sound like breaking bones, faces shrieking as they scattered across the booth. The crowd roared, their cheers deafening, shaking the ground. The ringmaster clapped once, and the shrieking faces dissolved into smoke. And in Dalton's hands, heavy and wet, appeared a new prize, a mask. It was pale, featureless, its surface slick like skin. As Dalton stared at it, the mask pulsed, and for a split second he saw his own reflection. Only the reflection smiled wider than he ever could, its teeth sharp, its eyes spinning like wheels. Dalton dropped it with a choked cry, but the mask clung to his hands, stretching like tar, refusing to let go. The crowd laughed, one sound, one voice, one nightmare chorus. And the ringmaster leaned close, his shadow swallowing Dalton whole. "Congratulations," he whispered. "You've won." Chapter 5. Too good to be true. I leaned back in the folding chair, the plastic edges biting into my shoulders, and stared at the glowing carnival tents beyond the fence. The Ferris wheel lights winked red, blue, green, gold, flashing like giant eyes. It was late. Too late for anything good, but my heart thudded like I'd just finished running a mile. I should have been exhausted. We'd played the first game, thrown darts at balloons that seemed to shift around like they were alive, and won prizes that felt too heavy in our hands. Still, I couldn't stop buzzing. "You know what I'm thinking?" Adam asked, bouncing his leg like he was drumming on the ground. His messy blonde hair stuck out in every direction, even worse than usual. "That we should leave while we can?" I said, gripping the stuffed bear I'd won like it might bite me. He laughed, shaking his head. "No, Dalton, I'm thinking this place is amazing. I mean, we've been here for hours, right? And it feels like 5 minutes. The food's free, the games are free, and we're winning every single one. That's what worries me." I lowered my voice, eyeing the shadows behind the game stalls. Nobody wins every single game, and why would they let us? There's got to be a catch. Adam shrugged, grinning. "You're just suspicious because you're you." But I wasn't suspicious because of me. I was suspicious because of them. The carnival workers. Every time we tossed a ring or knocked over milk bottles, their smiles widened just a little too much. Their faces were painted bright white, lips stretched into painted grins, eyes glowing under the strings of lights. They clapped and cheered when we won, too loudly, too perfectly in sync. Like robots. Or puppets. "Come on," Adam said, springing up. "Let's try another." I stood reluctantly, tucking the bear under my arm. "Adam, don't you think it's weird that nobody else is here?" He paused for a second, eyes flicking toward the empty paths. Music drifted on the breeze, a cheerful carousel tune, but the stalls stood deserted except for us and the workers. "Maybe," he started. Then he shook his head. "Maybe it's just not that popular yet. We're the first to find it. Lucky us." Lucky, that word made my stomach twist. "Or maybe," I said slowly, "we're the only ones dumb enough to come." Adam rolled his eyes and tugged me toward a stand lined with bottles stacked in pyramids. A sign in curling red letters read, "Knock 'em down, win big." The worker manning the booth looked like the others, face powdered pale, lips a glossy red, but his eyes were the strangest thing, wide, unblinking, like they weren't real eyes at all. "3 throws," the worker barked, sliding baseballs across the counter. "Win a prize, win a dream." "Win a dream?" Adam grabbed the first ball and launched it. The top bottle flew off with a satisfying crash. "Nice," I muttered. The second ball. Strike. The third, another strike. The pyramid toppled, the bottles scattering across the counter and clattering to the ground. "You did it!" the worker shouted, clapping stiffly. "Pick any prize at all." Behind him, the shelves sagged under the weight of prizes. Enormous teddy bears, glittering toy cars, gleaming bikes, even what looked like a flat-screen TV. Whoa, Adam breathed. They're not kidding. That's insane, I whispered. No carnival gives out stuff like that. Adam's eyes locked on the bike. That one. The worker reached up, hands trembling just slightly, and lifted the shining red bicycle down. He wheeled it around the counter and placed it in front of Adam. Enjoy your prize, he said, lips stretching into that same stiff grin. Enjoy it while you can. I froze. What did you say? Enjoy your prize, he repeated as if he hadn't said anything strange. Enjoy it always. But I could have sworn Adam hopped onto the bike grinning. This is incredible. I've wanted one like this forever. I watched him pedal in a circle, the carnival lights flashing across the chrome handlebars. The air seemed thicker around him, like heat waves rising off pavement. Too good to be true. Dalton, Adam said breathlessly, skidding to a stop. You've got to try another game. Seriously. I glanced back at the worker. He was still smiling, still staring at us. But there was something in his eyes now. Something sharp, something hungry. Adam, I said slowly, don't you think it's weird that they keep letting us win? He grinned, shaking his head. Not weird. Awesome. But I wasn't so sure. We kept moving from booth to booth. Toss a ring, win a gold watch, shoot a water gun, win a phone that looked way too expensive to be real. With every prize, my unease grew. By the time I was lugging a giant stuffed tiger and a stack of electronics I could barely carry, I was sweating, not from the weight, but from fear. Adam, I hissed, look at all this. Where are these even coming from? None of this makes sense. He was busy admiring his new bike, running his fingers over the shiny paint. Stop worrying, man. We're cleaning up. Who cares why? I do, my voice cracked. What if there's a catch? What if we owe them something? Adam finally looked at me, his grin slipping for a second. Like what? Money? No. I swallowed hard. Something worse. As if on cue, the music changed. The carousel tune slowed, deepened. The notes bent and warped until it sounded less like music and more like chanting. The lights overhead flickered. The carnival workers froze. Every single one. Their painted faces turned toward us in perfect unison. And then, as one, they began to clap. Slowly, rhythmically, like they were applauding a show. Dalton? Adam whispered. The clapping grew louder, echoing across the empty carnival. And then they all said it together. Too good to be true. My heart stopped. Adam and I backed away, bumping into each other. What's happening? He stammered. I shook my head. My throat felt dry. The workers stepped forward, their smiles never wavering. Too good to be true, they repeated, voices booming in eerie harmony. Adam clutched the handlebars of his bike like it would protect him. I dropped my stack of prizes, the boxes tumbling to the ground with dull thuds. Dalton, Adam whispered, maybe we should run, I said. And we did. We bolted down the midway, past the stalls and games, past the flickering lights. The chanting followed us, rising louder and louder. Too good to be true. Too good to be true. Too good to be true. The words chased us through the carnival, sinking into my ears, drilling into my brain. And even as we sprinted, prizes forgotten, I couldn't help but wonder, what if they were right? Chapter 6. The Hypnosis. I don't remember how long we ran. The midway blurred into streaks of neon. The music pounded in my skull, and the sound of our sneakers slapping against the asphalt felt like the only thing tethering me to reality. The chanting, too good to be true, echoed behind us, overlapping voices rising into a twisted symphony. Finally, Adam yanked my arm, pointing. There, the exit. I looked where he pointed. The chain-link gate we'd walked through hours earlier stood wide open, black night stretching beyond it. We didn't slow. We barreled through the gate and into the dark lot, our breaths ragged, our chests heaving. When I finally glanced back, the carnival lights still glowed. The Ferris wheel spun slowly, its colours flashing like a sinister lighthouse. The music drifted out faintly, cheerful again. Like nothing had happened. Dalton, Adam wheezed, leaning on his bike. What? What was that? I shook my head, clutching my knees. I don't know, but we need to tell someone. Now. We stumbled across the lot, overgrown weeds brushing our legs, until the glowing tents vanished behind us. When we finally reached the street, everything looked normal. Houses slept in the distance. A streetlight flickered above. Almost too normal. Come on, I said, tugging Adam's sleeve. We'll go to my place. My parents... I froze. My parents. The thought of them made a shiver crawl down my spine. Because what if the carnival wasn't just after us? What if it already had them? We burst through my front door, prizes still clutched in our arms, breathless and sweating. Mom! Dad! I shouted. My voice cracked from panic. You guys awake? The living room lights were on. Too bright, the TV flickered silently with static. And my parents sat on the couch. Perfectly still. Their eyes were open, wide and glassy, fixed straight ahead. Their mouths stretched into smiles too wide, too stiff. Mom? My voice wobbled. Dad? They didn't move. Adam clutched my shoulder. Dalton, what's wrong with them? I stepped closer, my throat dry. My dad's hand rested on the arm of the couch. I reached out and touched it. Cold. Not freezing, not dead. Just wrong. Mom, I whispered, shaking her arm gently. Her smile twitched. Slowly, her head turned toward me. I jerked back. Enjoy your prize, she said, her voice low and mechanical. Enjoy it always. I stumbled away, heart hammering. Dad turned next, his head creaking like a rusty hinge. Too good to be true. Adam made a strangled noise beside me. Dalton, they sound just like the carnival people. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The prizes. I dropped my stuffed bear onto the carpet. It landed with a dull thump. And then it moved. Its chest rose and fell like it was breathing. Adam gasped, dropping his bike with a crash. The wheel spun lazily, even though no one touched it. The bear's button eyes blinked. Dalton, Adam whispered hoarsely, what did we bring home? We bolted upstairs, slamming my bedroom door and locking it behind us. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone, dialing 911. Static. I tried again. Static. Adam clutched his head, pacing. We're trapped, man. A sound cut him off. From the stuffed bear on the floor, a soft voice whispered, Dalton. I froze. The bear's mouth didn't move, but the sound filled the room. Dalton, don't fight it, don't resist. Come back to us, come back. I dropped the phone. My vision blurred. The carnival lights flashed behind my eyes. Ferris wheel spinning, carousel music swelling. My chest felt heavy, my limbs sluggish. Dalton? Adam's voice sounded far away. Hey, stay with me. I swayed, gripping the desk to steady myself. The whispering grew louder, not just from the bear, from the bike in the hall, from the gold watch I'd stuffed in my backpack, from every prize. Don't resist, don't resist, come back, come back. Dalton! Adam grabbed my shoulders and shook me hard. Snap out of it! I blinked, gasping. The whispers faded, just a little. He stared at me wide-eyed. It's them, the prizes, they're hypnotizing people. I nodded shakily. That's why my parents are acting like that. They touched them. They kept them. And if we keep them, his voice cracked. We'll end up the same way. My stomach churned. I looked at the bear, its chest rising and falling, eyes glinting. We need to get rid of them, I said. Adam swallowed hard. How? We crept downstairs, prizes in hand, trying not to look at my parents' glassy stares. They didn't move, didn't speak, just smiled. We dumped everything into the trash bin out back. Bear, watch, all of it. Adam hesitated with his bike, his fingers gripping the handlebars. Adam, I whispered. His jaw tightened. Slowly, he let go. The bike toppled into the bin with a hollow clang. The air felt lighter instantly. We sagged against the fence, breathing hard. Dalton, Adam said shakily, what if it's too late for them? I looked back through the kitchen window. My parents still sat, unmoving, smiling at nothing. We'll figure it out, I said, though my voice didn't sound convincing even to me. We have to. But deep down, I wasn't sure. That night, I barely slept. Every creak of the house made me flinch. Every shadow looked like it was about to stand up and grin at me. By morning, Adam was still asleep on my floor. I crept downstairs. My parents were gone. The couch cushions were dented where they'd sat. The TV still glowed with static, but the house was empty. Adam! I shouted, panic clawing my throat. They're gone! He tumbled down the stairs, rubbing his eyes. What do you mean gone? I shoved the back door open. The trash bin stood tipped over. The prizes were gone. All of them. And on the lawn, pressed into the dew-wet grass, were footprints leading away. Footprints glowing faintly in the early light, leading back toward the carnival. I gripped Adam's arm, my stomach sinking. They're not just hypnotized, I whispered. They're being taken back. Adam stared at me, pale. Dalton, what if we're next? I didn't answer, because I already knew the truth. We would be, unless we stopped it. Chapter 7. Strange Behaviour. The morning sun should have felt normal, safe. But as Adam and I pedalled down our street toward school, every shadow stretched too long. Every house looked too quiet. The carnival hadn't disappeared. I could feel it behind me, even if I didn't turn around. Its lights flickered faintly in the distance, just beyond the abandoned lot. The Ferris wheel spun slowly, steady as a heartbeat. I tried not to look at it. Adam rode beside me, his mouth a tight line. Dalton, your parents. Do you think they're at the carnival now? I gripped the handlebars tighter. I don't know, but I think that's where those footprints led. Adam's voice dropped. And if they're there, he didn't finish, he didn't have to. We coasted into the school parking lot. Kids milled around as usual, backpacks slung over their shoulders, chatter filling the air. For 1 second, I thought maybe everything would be fine. Maybe last night had been some shared nightmare. Then I saw them, the smiles. Not all the kids, but some. Their grins stretched just a little too wide, their eyes glassy. They walked in strange, stiff unison, and they laughed all at once, in the same pitch, like a single voice split into dozens. Adam swore under his breath, Dalton, it's spreading. In homeroom, the strangeness got worse. Mr. Preston, our science teacher, usually grumbled through morning announcements like he couldn't wait for the day to be over. But that morning, he bounced on his heels, his eyes shining like a kid on Christmas morning. Good morning, class, he boomed, clapping his hands so hard the chalkboard rattled. Isn't it a beautiful day? A chorus of yes rose up from half the class. All together. Same pitch, same timing. I glanced at Adam. He stared back, pale. Mr. Preston grinned wider. Wonderful, just wonderful. He kept grinning, even while handing out worksheets, even while scolding a kid for not paying attention. The smile never left his face. His lips didn't twitch, didn't break. By lunch, Adam and I sat alone at a table, our trays untouched. Across the cafeteria, groups of kids huddled, whispering the same phrases over and over. Too good to be true. Enjoy your prize. Come back to us. Their voices overlapped, blended, like they weren't individuals anymore. I pushed my tray away. We have to do something. Like what? Adam hissed. Tell someone? They're all in on it. Look around. He wasn't wrong. Even the cafeteria monitors wore identical smiles. I leaned closer. What if it's the carnival? What if just going there is enough to change you? Adam's jaw tightened. Then we were lucky. But his voice didn't sound lucky at all. When the final bell rang, we rode home in silence. My stomach churned with dread. Halfway down my street, I braked hard. Adam swerved to avoid me. What now? I pointed. Mrs. Crawley, the old lady who lived 2 houses down, stood on her porch. She usually yelled at kids for stepping on her lawn, but now she just stood there, smiling, her hands clasped in front of her, her head tilted at a perfect, unnatural angle. She whispered something under her breath, over and over. I strained to hear. Come back. Come back. Come back. Adam shivered. We can't stay here tonight. I knew he was right. My parents hadn't returned. Half the town looked hypnotized, and the carnival, I could feel it calling. But where could we go? That evening, Adam crashed at my place again. We sat in my room with the lights off, whispering. Maybe if we destroy the carnival, Adam said suddenly. I blinked. Destroy it? Yeah, burn it down, knock it over, something. If it's gone, maybe the people come back. It sounded crazy, but also, maybe not. Before I could answer, a sound drifted through my window. Music? The carnival's calliope organ, faint but clear. The notes curled into my room like smoke. Adam clapped his hands over his ears. Dalton, don't listen. Too late. The music slid under my skin, warm and sticky, tugging at my thoughts. I saw the Ferris wheel turning, the carousel spinning, lights flashing like open arms waiting to welcome me back. My legs twitched, ready to stand. Dalton! Adam shook me hard. Stay with me. The spell broke. I staggered back, heart pounding. The music still played, drifting stronger now. Adam's voice was a whisper. It's calling us. I nodded slowly, my throat was dry. And if we don't stop it soon, I said, we won't be able to resist much longer. The next morning, we saw it had spread further. The mailman, the crossing guard, whole groups of kids walking to school, their movements stiff, their voices echoing in perfect harmony. And every one of them smiling. Adam grabbed my arm, panic in his eyes. Dalton, they're not people anymore. I swallowed hard, because I wasn't sure he was wrong. That night, when I tried to sleep, I heard whispering in my room. I sat up, heart hammering. The stuffed bear I'd thrown out? It sat on my desk. Its chest rose and fell. Its button eyes gleamed in the dark. Dalton, it whispered, don't resist. Don't fight. Join us. Be happy forever. The music swelled outside, the organ louder now, so close it rattled my windows. I clamped my hands over my ears. But the whispers didn't stop. And the smile tugging at my lips felt harder and harder to fight. Chapter 8. The carnival calls again. I thought I could fight it. All day I tried. In school, while teachers smiled too wide and half the students chanted under their breath. At lunch, when Adam and I ate in silence, our heads down, pretending not to notice the way everyone else's eyes followed us in eerie unison. Even on the walk home, with the late afternoon sun painting the houses gold, I told myself I could ignore it. The music. It drifted on the breeze like a faint perfume curling around my ears. The calliope's notes, tinny and cheerful, carrying that same awful promise. Come back, come back, come back. Adam shoved his hands in his hoodie pocket, glaring at the ground as we walked. It's getting louder, he muttered. I nodded without looking at him. I know. We didn't talk about it more. We didn't need to. The music had wormed its way into both our heads. By the time I reached my house, my lips hurt from biting down on them so I wouldn't start humming along. That night, I woke to the sound of footsteps. At first, I thought it was Adam sneaking downstairs for a snack, but then I realized Adam hadn't stayed over. His parents had made him come home. The footsteps weren't his. They were too many, too heavy. I crept to my window and pulled the curtain back an inch. My heart stopped. The street was filled with people. Dozens of them. Neighbours, teachers, kids from school. All walking in the same direction. Silent, smiling, their eyes wide and blank. Marching toward the abandoned lot. Toward the carnival. And leading them were my parents. I clutched the windowsill so hard my knuckles went white. Mom, I whispered. Dad. They didn't hear. They didn't turn. They just kept walking, their movements stiff and mechanical, like puppets on invisible strings. The carnival lights glowed faintly at the end of the street, pulsing in time with the music. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then my phone buzzed. Adam, you seeing this? My fingers shook as I texted back. Yeah. A pause, then, we can't hide forever. We have to go back. The next day at school, half the desks were empty. The kids who were there weren't really there. Their faces were pale, their smiles unblinking. When the teacher asked a question, every hand went up at once, then dropped at once. They spoke in the same flat tone. I sat frozen, the whispers from the bear echoing in my skull, even though I'd thrown it away. Don't resist, come back. By lunch, Adam leaned across the table, his eyes bloodshot. Dalton, we have to do something tonight, before it's too late. Do what? I hissed. We can't just walk in there. Why not? He shot back. They want us, don't they? Maybe if we go, we can find a way to stop it, or save them. His voice cracked on the last word. Save them. I pictured my parents' glassy eyes, their stiff smiles, the way they marched without hesitation. I wanted to save them more than anything. But the thought of stepping back into that carnival made my stomach twist. We'll be trapped, I whispered. Adam's jaw tightened. We're already trapped. That evening, as the sky bled orange and purple, Adam showed up at my house with his backpack stuffed. Flashlight, rope, pocket knife, baseball bat. He rattled off, pulling the items out one by one. We're going prepared this time. I stared at the bat. You think that's going to work on whatever they are? His mouth twitched into a humorless grin. Better than nothing? I packed my own bag. Extra batteries, water bottle, my dad's old lighter I found in the junk drawer. My hands shook as I stuffed it into the side pocket. We slipped out through the back door, hearts pounding, and cut across the yards toward the lot. The carnival's glow pulsed brighter with every step. When we reached the chain-link fence, the gate stood open, waiting. Just like the first night. The air smelled sweet, like cotton candy, but underneath was something sour, something rotten. The music swelled as we stepped inside. Lights spun, the Ferris wheel turned, each car filled with unmoving, smiling figures. The carousel horses bobbed, eyes glowing faintly, their wooden jaws twitching like they wanted to bite. Adam gripped the bat tighter. This is it. I swallowed hard. Yeah. And then voices. From the prize tent. So. We crept closer, ducking behind the popcorn stand. The voices grew clearer. Too good to be true. Enjoy your prize. Forever and ever. I peeked around the corner. Rows of townspeople sat inside the tent, clutching their prizes. Bears, dolls, watches, goldfish. Their mouths moved in unison, chanting those same phrases. Their eyes glowed faintly in the dark. In the center of the tent, a tall figure in a ringmaster's coat raised his hands, conducting them like an orchestra. His grin stretched unnaturally wide, his eyes burning like coals. Adam gasped beside me. He's controlling them. The ringmaster's head turned suddenly. His eyes locked on mine. I froze. His grin widened. "Ah," he said, his voice deep and smooth. "The resistant ones." The chanting stopped. Every head turned toward us. Dozens of glassy eyes, dozens of smiles. "Dalton," Adam whispered hoarsely. "Run." We bolted, but the music chased us, swelling louder, wrapping around us like chains. My vision blurred. My legs felt heavy. Behind us, the voices rose again in perfect unison. "Come back, come back, come back." We dove behind the funhouse entrance, gasping for breath. The mirrors inside reflected our pale faces, twisted and stretched. The music bounced off the glass, louder here, echoing from every direction. Adam gripped my shoulders, shaking me. "Dalton, listen to me. We can't keep running. We have to fight back. Tonight." I tried to focus on his eyes, but the whispers were crawling into my skull again. "Don't resist. Be happy. Be ours." My voice cracked. "I don't know if I can." "You have to," Adam snapped, "because if you give in, I'm on my own, and then it's over. For both of us." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to nod. But even as I said it, deep down, I wasn't sure how much longer I could resist. We crept deeper into the funhouse, mirrors distorting us at every turn. My reflection grinned back at me even though my lips weren't moving. Its eyes glowed faintly red. I stumbled back. "Adam." But when I turned, Adam was gone. Only his reflection remained, smiling at me from a dozen mirrors, and whispering in his voice, "Come back, Dalton, come back." Chapter 9. The Living Prizes. The morning sunlight barely seeped through the blinds when I woke up to a faint noise. At first, I thought it was a dream, a hushed whisper, barely audible. Then I heard it again. "Dalton!" My eyes shot open. I sat up straight in bed, the covers twisting around my legs. My room was silent, except for the faint hum of my alarm clock. Then the whisper returned, and I knew it wasn't my imagination. "Dalton, don't tell them." I turned my head slowly toward my desk, my heart thudding in my chest. There, in a glass bowl, the goldfish Adam had won at the carnival swam lazily in circles. Its tiny orange body glittered in the sunlight, its fins fluttering like delicate ribbons. I swallowed hard. My mouth felt like sandpaper. The goldfish looked back at me, really looked. Its eyes weren't blank like normal fish eyes. They were sharp, focused, watching me. I nearly screamed. Instead, I stumbled out of bed and backed against the wall, pressing myself flat against it as though I could melt right through. The fish swam up to the top of the bowl and lingered, its mouth opening and closing. "Don't tell," it hissed, the voice bubbling inside my head like someone speaking underwater. I shook my head violently. No way, this isn't real. But it was. The stuffed bear Adam had shown me yesterday sat slumped in the corner of the room. Its stitched mouth curved into a permanent grin. But in the dim light, I could swear its chest rose and fell like it was breathing. I grabbed my sneakers and yanked them on with trembling hands. I needed to see Adam. I needed to know if he was dealing with the same thing or if I was losing my mind. When I biked over to Adam's house, the morning air was crisp and quiet, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every shadow seemed longer than usual. Every sound, from the caw of a crow to the rattle of a lawnmower in the distance, made me flinch. Adam answered the door almost immediately, like he'd been waiting. His hair was messy, his eyes bloodshot. "You too?" he asked hoarsely. I didn't even need to explain. He knew. I nodded. "The fish." He shuddered. "The bear." We went upstairs to his room, and when I saw it, my stomach dropped. The bear wasn't just sitting in the corner anymore. It was sprawled across Adam's bed, its head propped against the pillow like it had made itself comfortable. The stitched grin stretched wider, the button eyes gleaming like polished marbles. And its chest was rising and falling, exactly like a person breathing. Adam grabbed my arm tightly. I woke up in the middle of the night. It was sitting in the chair by my desk. I didn't put it there, Dalton. I swear I didn't. As if on cue, the bear's head turned slightly toward us, its button eyes locked with mine. I yanked Adam backward. "We have to get rid of it." He nodded quickly. Yeah, we can't keep this thing here." We picked it up together, its weight surprisingly heavy like a sack of sand. Its fabric was warm, almost too warm, like it had been lying in the sun. I felt its chest inflate slightly under my palm. We nearly dropped it. "Come on," I whispered, my throat dry. "We'll throw it in the dumpster behind the grocery store." We biked with the bear stuffed into a trash bag and the goldfish bowl clutched in my arms. The goldfish kept whispering all the way there. "Don't do this, Dalton. Don't leave me. Don't betray us." I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to block it out, but the voice slithered into my head like smoke. Adam was pale and silent the entire ride. When we reached the dumpster, we counted to 3 and hurled the bag with the bear inside. It hit the bottom with a loud thump. "Good riddance," Adam muttered. I lifted the goldfish bowl over the side, ready to dump it too, but the water swirled suddenly violently like a whirlpool had formed inside. The fish's eyes gleamed red for a split second. "Dalton!" it screeched in my head. "If you throw me away, I'll tell them your secret." My blood ran cold. "What secret?" I whispered. Adam grabbed my shoulder. "Dalton, what's it saying?" I didn't answer, because the fish had said something only I could understand, something it shouldn't know. The night I snuck into the carnival alone, before Adam knew, before my parents knew, before anyone. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the bowl. "You see?" the fish hissed. "We know you. We know everything. You can't escape us." I shoved the bowl into the dumpster, water splashing over the side, and staggered back. For a moment, it was silent. Then the trash bag shifted. Something inside the dumpster was moving. Adam's eyes widened. "Dalton, it's getting out." The bag split open, fabric tearing. The stuffed bear's head poked out, its button eyes gleaming. It clawed at the edge of the dumpster with stubby, plush arms, pulling itself upward. I froze in horror. "Run!" Adam shouted. We jumped on our bikes and pedaled as fast as we could, the sound of fabric scraping against metal echoing behind us. By the time we made it back to my house, we were out of breath, drenched in sweat, and completely shaken. But the nightmare wasn't over. Because when I opened the door to my room, the goldfish bowl was back on my desk. And the bear was sitting in the chair, waiting for us. I staggered backward, my throat dry. Adam whispered, "That's impossible." The bear tilted its head slightly, like it was mocking us. Its stitched mouth curved even higher. And then the goldfish spoke, louder this time, the voice echoing inside both of our heads. "You belong to the carnival now." Chapter 10. The Captives. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a minute. How could I, with the bear sitting in my desk chair like a person waiting for a meeting, its button eyes never blinking? How could I, with the goldfish bowl bubbling faintly every so often, except the bubbles didn't rise naturally, they formed into words. My name, Adam's name, over and over. Adam stayed with me, though neither of us dared close our eyes. We sat on the floor, whispering plans, none of which made any sense. Burn the bear, flush the fish, smash the bowl, run away. None of those felt possible. Not after what we'd seen at the dumpster. When morning came, my mom poked her head into the room, cheerful as ever. Too cheerful. "Breakfast, boys," she chimed, like she was the host of some old-time cooking show. Her eyes sparkled unnaturally bright. Adam and I exchanged a look. Mom didn't notice the bear. She didn't see the fish, or if she did, she pretended everything was normal. We went downstairs, and that's when I knew something was wrong. Dad was sitting at the table with his newspaper spread out, but instead of reading it, he just stared at it, not turning pages, not blinking. His face was frozen in a mild smile, like it'd been sculpted that way. "Morning, champ," he said, without looking at me. His voice was monotone, distant. I shivered. Mom set down a plate of pancakes, but instead of eating them, Dad just kept staring, repeating under his breath, "The carnival, the carnival, the carnival." Adam squeezed my wrist under the table. "He's hypnotized," he mouthed. I didn't need convincing. And then the strangest thing happened. The TV flicked on by itself. Static filled the screen before an image blinked into place. Bright carnival lights spinning, rides whirling, children laughing. A booming voice filled the room. "Come one, come all, the carnival awaits." Mom and Dad's heads both jerked toward the screen. Their smiles stretched wider. "We should go again tonight," Mom whispered. "Yes," Dad said, standing stiffly, his chair scraping against the floor. "We must go." Adam and I sat frozen in our seats as they walked robotically to the living room, their eyes glued to the screen. "They're pulling them back," Adam said. "No," I said quietly. "They never left." That evening, against every ounce of my will, we went back. I couldn't stop my parents. They moved with eerie precision, like puppets on strings. They drove us in the car, humming the same carnival tune under their breath, their smiles never breaking. The lot that had been empty all day was once again alive with lights and sounds. The carnival stood tall, brighter than ever, glowing like it owned the night. As soon as we stepped out of the car, I noticed something I hadn't before. Not everyone here was normal. Some kids walked stiffly, their arms jerking like marionettes. Their eyes were wide and vacant, their mouths stretched into empty grins. Adults shuffled beside them, muttering carnival phrases under their breath. "Step right up, step right up. The show never ends. The fun never stops." My parents joined them instantly, blending into the crowd. Adam grabbed my arm tightly. "They're captives, Dalton. All of them." I nodded, throat tight. "We have to do something." But what? We followed the crowd, weaving through the glowing midway. Everywhere I looked, prizes twitched or whispered. A stuffed rabbit blinked. A doll turned its head. A balloon animal pulsed faintly, like it had a heartbeat. And then we saw it. Behind the row of carnival tents was a fenced-off area. At first, I thought it was a storage section, but as we got closer, my stomach twisted. It wasn't storage. It was a holding pen. Dozens of people stood inside, pressed against the wire fencing. Kids our age, parents, younger children, all staring blankly with glazed eyes, smiling too wide. "Captives," Adam whispered. One girl about our age noticed us. Her lips trembled as though she was trying to speak, but no sound came out. She just mouthed a single word. "Run." Before we could react, a voice boomed behind us. "Enjoying the view, boys?" We spun around. A carnival worker stood there, his face hidden behind a painted mask, half clown, half skull. He twirled a cane tipped with a glass orb that glowed faintly. The light from the orb pulsed in rhythm with the captives breathing. My blood turned to ice. That's how they control them, Adam whispered. The worker chuckled. Curious little troublemakers, aren't you? Don't worry, you'll join the fun soon enough. He raised the glowing orb higher, and I felt a wave of dizziness crash over me. My legs wobbled. My eyelids drooped. No, I muttered, shaking my head violently. Not again. Not like them. Adam clutched my arm. Resist it. Look away. I squeezed my eyes shut, but the light burned through my eyelids, pulsing in time with my heartbeat. My mind grew foggy. I almost wanted to smile. I almost wanted to let go. Then Adam slapped me across the face, hard. Stay awake, he shouted. The sting snapped me back. I gasped, stumbling backward, dragging Adam with me. The worker lunged, swinging his cane like a weapon. The orb pulsed brighter. But in that split second, I realized something. The orb didn't just control the captives. It distracted the worker too. I snatched up a rock from the ground and hurled it at the orb. It cracked. The light sputtered. The worker screamed, clutching the broken cane as sparks fizzed out. Behind us, the captives blinked rapidly, their blank smiles faltering. Dalton, Adam gasped. You broke the spell. Not all of it. The captives were still dazed, but something had shifted. And the worker wasn't done. You'll pay for that, he shrieked, lunging again. His mask slipped, revealing a pale, waxy face beneath, eyes glowing faintly yellow. Not human, not even close. We ran. We tore through the carnival, weaving past rides and stalls. The laughter around us grew distorted, like it was coming from broken speakers. Everywhere I looked, more workers in masks stepped out of the shadows, their glowing orbs lighting up like fireflies. They want us, Adam panted, because we resisted. I nodded, my chest burning. That means we're dangerous to them. We ducked behind a food stand, breathing hard. My ears rang with carnival music, too loud, too fast. The prizes on the shelves shivered and twisted, their glassy eyes following us. And then, from the shadows, we heard a voice. Psst, over here. We turned. The girl from the captive pen crouched behind a curtain, motioning for us. Her eyes were clearer now, though she still trembled. How? I started. No time, she hissed. If you want to save them, your parents, your friends, you have to follow me. Adam looked at me nervously. Dalton, do we trust her? I swallowed hard. We don't have a choice. We followed her into the dark. As the curtain fell shut behind us, the carnival noises muffled, and we stood in near darkness. The girl's face was pale, her voice shaking. You don't understand, she whispered. They don't just want to control you. They want to keep you here. Forever. And from deeper in the shadows, I heard the faintest sound. Something breathing. Something big. Chapter 11. The Temptations. I didn't know what scared me more, the whisper of something breathing in the shadows or the girl leading us deeper into them. Her name, we learned quickly, was Marissa. She was maybe a year younger than us, 16 at most. Her dark hair matted and her clothes rumpled, but her eyes, those were what got me. They flickered like candles, sometimes wide with fear, sometimes sharp with determination. They almost had me, she whispered, as she pulled us through a narrow passage behind one of the tents. But I kept fighting. If you fight long enough, sometimes the control slips. Just a crack. Like when the orb broke, Adam muttered. Exactly, Marissa said. But that won't save everyone. They'll try to tempt you instead. If they can't force you, they'll trick you. My throat tightened. Tempt us how? Marissa didn't answer. She just stopped, her head tilting as if she heard something we couldn't. You'll see. And then she vanished. I mean it. 1 second she was right there leading us, and the next she was gone. The flap of the tent rippled like she'd walked straight through it, though it didn't open. "Marissa!" I hissed, panic scraping at my throat. No reply. "Dalton," Adam's voice shook. "We're alone. Not for long." The carnival changed. The lights dimmed to a dark blood-red glow. The music slowed, warped, stretching out like the groan of a broken organ. The midway around us blurred, melting like wet paint. I reached for Adam, but he was gone. "Adam!" I shouted, spinning. "Adam!" My voice echoed too far, too deep. And then I heard it. "Dalton!" The voice was warm, familiar. "Dalton, son, over here." I turned. My dad stood beside the bumper cars, looking exactly like himself. Except his smile wasn't frozen anymore. It was real, soft, the way it used to be when we'd go fishing together. "Dad?" My heart lurched. "Are you okay?" "I'm better than okay." He held out his hand. "Come with me, Dalton. Let's go home. We don't need the carnival. We don't need fear. Just come with me, son." I took a step toward him. My chest ached with longing. But then something flickered. For half a second, his eyes glowed faint yellow. I stopped cold, sir. Dad's smile twitched. "Don't you trust me?" The ground beneath my feet wavered, shifting into the wooden floorboards of our living room. The smell of pancakes filled the air. My mom's laughter drifted from the kitchen. It felt so real. It felt perfect. And that's when I remembered Marissa's warning. "They'll tempt you." "No," I muttered, backing away. "You're not real." The living room dissolved like smoke. My dad's smile stretched unnaturally wide, splitting into cracks until his whole face split down the middle like a mask. Beneath it was darkness, yawning open, whispering my name. I ran. Meanwhile, Adam wasn't with me. He was somewhere else. He found himself standing in the high school gym, the echo of sneakers squeaking across the polished floor. His brother Jeremy stood at the far end of the court, tall, confident, everything Adam had always wanted to be. "Come on, little bro," Jeremy called, tossing a basketball with effortless skill. "Time to prove yourself. Time to be more than second best." Adam's throat tightened. "Jeremy, you can do it, Adam. You just have to stay here, play the game, win. Don't you want that?" The hoop shimmered, glowing with golden light. The ball bounced at Adam's feet, calling to him. He bent down, fingertips brushing the leather. He wanted it. He wanted it so bad. But then he heard Dalton's voice in his head, urgent and real. "Don't fall for it. Don't stay." Adam clenched his jaw. This isn't real. The gym cracked like glass. Jeremy's perfect smile twisted, his arms elongating, stretching into clawed hands. "Ungrateful," the creature hissed, its voice doubling, tripling. "You'll never escape. None of you will." Adam hurled the ball at its face. The illusion shattered. And just like that, he was back in the carnival. Dalton and Adam stumbled into each other in the midway, both panting, both pale. "You saw it too?" I gasped. Adam nodded, sweat dripping down his face. "They tried to trick me, with Jeremy, with basketball." "They used my dad," I whispered. We stood in silence for a moment, catching our breath. The carnival noises had quieted, almost as if the whole place was holding its breath, waiting to see what we'd do next. And then a voice boomed from the big top. "You resist well," it said, deep and echoing. "But no one resists forever. The carnival feeds. The carnival keeps. The carnival owns." The ground shook. Lights burst on across the midway, all pointing toward the massive striped tent at the far end. Adam swallowed hard. "Dalton, I think they want us inside." I nodded, my stomach twisting. "And I think we don't have a choice." Inside the tent was worse than I could have imagined. Rows and rows of bleachers filled with captives, kids, parents, strangers, all staring blankly, their faces glowing with reflected light. At the center of the ring stood a massive platform, and on it a tall figure cloaked in black. In his hand, he held the largest orb we'd ever seen, glowing like a miniature sun. The ringmaster. His voice boomed without a microphone, rattling the walls of the tent. Welcome, challengers. You have resisted the prizes. You have resisted the temptations. But you cannot resist me. The crowd erupted in hollow applause, every clap perfectly synchronized. Adam gripped my arm. Dalton, if he controls that orb, he controls all of them. The ringmaster tilted his head, as if he'd heard. Correct. Clever boy. And when the sun rises, this carnival will vanish, taking every last captive with it. My stomach dropped. That meant my parents. That meant everyone. We had until dawn, and dawn wasn't far away. The ringmaster raised the glowing orb high. The captives stood as one, turning their vacant eyes on us. Now, the ringmaster thundered, let the final act begin. The entire tent shuddered, the ground cracked, and from the shadows beneath the platform, something enormous began to rise. Chapter 12. The Final Escape. Dalton's sneakers skidded on the gravel as he tore down the midway, Adam close behind. The laughter of the carnival goers echoed behind them, hollow and unnatural, like recordings being played on broken speakers. The Ferris wheel loomed above, its lights spinning faster than seemed possible, casting dizzying shadows across the empty lot. Empty? Dalton shook his head. No, not empty. Everywhere he looked, there were people kids, parents, neighbors frozen in place, their eyes glazed over. They stood at game booths and ride entrances like mannequins waiting. Some swayed slightly, as if to unheard music. Some clutched their prizes too tightly, the stuffed animals' plastic eyes gleaming wetly, the goldfish bowls trembling as the fish inside whispered against the glass. They're not awake, Adam panted, slowing to a stop. He bent forward, hands on his knees, chest heaving. They're not even here. Dalton grabbed his arm and yanked him forward. We can't stop now. Come on. Behind them, the carousel groaned to life, its pipe organ squealing a warped, off-key tune. The horses moved in jerks, their carved mouths opening wider than they should, teeth gleaming. The painted eyes rolled to follow the boys as they ran. Dalton's throat tightened. It's all alive. Everything. They ducked between booths, past a cotton candy stand where the pink fluff pulsated in its tubs like it was breathing. Dalton didn't dare look too closely. They needed to reach the heart of the carnival wherever it was keeping their parents. It wasn't until they stumbled onto the central plaza that they found them. Mr. and Mrs. Hand, Mr. and Mrs. Crink, and dozens more adults and kids. They stood around the stage where the ringmaster had first welcomed everyone. Their eyes glowed faintly red, their mouths slack, and their hands hung limply at their sides. In front of them, standing tall with his top hat gleaming in the lights, was the ringmaster himself. You see? The man's voice rolled through the air, smooth as honey, but sharp as broken glass. They belong to the carnival now. They are mine. They dance when I say dance, laugh when I say laugh. They are free from the burdens of choice. Dalton felt Adam stiffen beside him. You're hypnotizing them. The ringmaster tilted his head, amused. Such an ugly word. I prefer guiding. The world outside is cruel, isn't it? Parents tired from endless work. Children weighed down by expectations. I take it away. I give them joy. His smile split his face wider than seemed possible. Forever. Dalton forced himself to step forward. His legs shook, but he clenched his fists. They don't look happy. They look trapped. The ringmaster's eyes glinted like shards of obsidian. You've resisted longer than most. Impressive. But you won't hold out forever. He lifted his cane and tapped it once on the stage. Instantly, the crowd of hypnotized neighbors turned their heads toward Dalton and Adam. "Bring them to me," the ringmaster whispered. The crowd lurched forward in unison. Dalton's stomach dropped. "Run!" He grabbed Adam's sleeve and bolted. They sprinted between the rows of glassy-eyed adults and kids, dodging grabbing hands. Dalton swore he saw his mother's face twitch just for a second like she was fighting inside. But then her eyes went red again, and she reached for him with stiff fingers. "Dalton!" Adam shouted, pointing. Up ahead, a row of prize booths lined the path. The stuffed animals writhed against their hooks, straining forward, their button eyes glimmering wetly. Goldfish bowls tipped toward the edge of counters, the water inside swirling violently as the fish hissed words Dalton didn't understand. The boys barreled through, knocking over shelves. Plush bears tumbled to the ground and scuttled toward them on stubby legs. One latched onto Dalton's ankle, its stitched grin widening. Dalton kicked hard, sending it flying into the shadows. They reached the far side, only to skid to a halt. The Ferris wheel loomed above them again, spinning faster than ever. Its lights blurred into a single, glowing circle, a portal of color. The carriages swung wildly, but instead of empty seats, Dalton saw shapes inside. Faces pressed against the glass, their friends, their classmates, each one mouthing silent screams as the wheel spun and spun. "They're trapped in there," Adam's voice cracked. Dalton's chest burned. "We can't save them all. We need to get everyone out." "How?" Dalton's eyes darted around the carnival. The rides, the games, the food stalls, they were all alive, all pulsing with some kind of energy, and at the center of it all, the ringmaster. "It's him," Dalton said. "He's the one keeping this place alive. If we stop him..." Adam swallowed. "Then maybe the carnival dies too." They turned back. The ringmaster was already striding toward them, his cane clicking on the ground. Behind him, the crowd of hypnotized parents and kids stumbled closer, eyes glowing brighter. Dalton's mind raced. He thought of all the times he'd given in to temptation here, the perfect games, the prizes, the endless fun. But he and Adam had resisted just enough. That had to mean something. And then he remembered something else. The first night, the ringmaster's voice. "Step right up and take only what you desire most." That was the trick. That was how he hooked them. Dalton grabbed Adam's shoulder. "Don't want anything. Don't listen. That's how he controls you. Just don't give him what he wants." Adam's face was pale, but he nodded. The ringmaster spread his arms as he approached, his grin gleaming under the lights. "Still running? Still fighting? You can't win, don't you see? Everyone you love already belongs to me." He gestured at the crowd, who stretched out their arms toward the boys. Dalton's heart hammered, but he shouted back, "You're wrong. They're stronger than you think, and we're not giving you anything." The ringmaster's smile faltered, just slightly. And in that crack, Dalton saw the truth. The carnival thrived on want the games, the prizes, the temptations. If no one wanted anything, maybe it couldn't survive. He turned to Adam. "We need to break everyone out. Show them it's fake. Make them stop wanting." Adam blinked. "How?" Dalton's mind reeled. The rides, the prizes, the food, all of it was built to tempt. If they could destroy those temptations, maybe the spell would weaken. The carousel's music shrieked louder. The Ferris wheel groaned. The crowd of captives stumbled closer, their voices blending into one eerie chant. The ringmaster raised his cane. "Last chance, boys. Choose your prize." Dalton grabbed a nearby goldfish bowl and hurled it to the ground. The glass shattered, water spilling across the gravel. The fish writhed, its whispers cut short before it dissolved into smoke. The ringmaster froze. Adam grinned, catching on. He grabbed an armful of stuffed animals and flung them into the carousel's gears. The fabric tore, the cotton bursting out in clouds of dust. The carousel shrieked and slowed, its horses grinding to a halt. The crowd groaned, some of them clutching their heads. "It's working!" Dalton yelled. They raced through the carnival, smashing prizes, tearing down booths, overturning food stands. With every destruction, the glowing lights dimmed a little more. The hypnotized people staggered, blinking, their eyes flickering between red and normal. The ringmaster roared, his smooth voice cracking into something inhuman. His cane splintered in his hands, and his teeth gleamed too sharp. "No! You will want, you will need. This is the only joy you'll ever have." Dalton and Adam stood side by side, panting, staring him down. "We don't want anything," Dalton said firmly. "Not from you." The ringmaster shrieked, a sound that rattled the air. The lights of the carnival sputtered, the rides grinding to a halt. The Ferris wheel froze mid-spin, its glowing circle blinking out like a dying star. One by one, the captives collapsed to the ground, dazed but free. The red faded from their eyes. Dalton's parents stirred, their voices weak but real. "Dalton! Mom! Dad!" Dalton rushed to them, pulling them into shaky hugs. Adam did the same with his parents. But the victory was short-lived. The ground beneath them trembled. The carnival groaned, its striped tents sagging, its lights flickering out. The entire lot shook like it was breathing its last. And the ringmaster? He didn't vanish. He didn't crumble. He grew. His shadow stretched across the lot, taller, wider, his hat scraping the sky. "You think you've won?" His voice boomed, shaking the earth. "This carnival is eternal, and you will never escape." Dalton grabbed Adam's arm, eyes wide. "We have to finish this, for real." The carnival around them began collapsing inward, folding like paper. Rides crashed into booths, tents shredded, and the night sky itself seemed to bend. It was now or never. Chapter 13. Vanishing Act. The carnival was collapsing all around us. Dalton's ears rang with the grinding of metal and the ripping of canvas. Lights flickered violently, spinning in jagged streaks like broken fireflies. The air smelled of cotton candy, burned sugar, and something darker, something alive and furious. Adam's hand was locked in Dalton's, both of them running blindly, dodging falling beams and shattering stalls. Parents, kids, neighbours, they stumbled beside them, blinking rapidly, trying to find their bearings after the hypnotic fog lifted. Dalton's mom clutched his arm, her face pale, eyes wide with shock. "Dalton, what is happening?" she cried. "I don't know," Dalton shouted back, heart hammering. "But we're finishing this. We end it here." The ringmaster's shadow stretched over the collapsing lot like a living nightmare. His hat scraped the sky, and his cane glowed with jagged streaks of light. Every time he stomped, the ground buckled, as if the earth itself feared him. His teeth glinted sharp in the chaotic glow. "You cannot win," he bellowed. "This carnival will last forever. All who enter are mine." Dalton clenched his fists, scanning the wreckage. Rides twisted into grotesque shapes. The Ferris wheel had cracked in the center, some of the carriages dangling precariously with frozen, terrified faces inside. The carousel's horses were half shattered, their mouths still smiling. The prize booths were ruins, the stuffed animals twitching in ragged heaps. Then Dalton spotted it, the source of the carnival's power. At the very center, where the main tent had once stood proudly, a massive orb pulsed violently. It floated above the ground, glowing with every color of the carnival lights, swirling as if it contained a storm. The ringmaster's power streamed from it like black smoke, weaving through every ride, every prize, every captive. Adam grabbed Dalton's shoulder. "That's it! Destroy it!" Dalton nodded, swallowing his fear. His eyes darted around, searching for anything to use. The splintered remains of booths were everywhere. Shards of glass, pieces of metal, ropes, sticks. His gaze landed on a jagged piece of steel piping from a broken ride. He grabbed it, muscles straining. Adam pulled him back slightly. "Be careful. It's alive." Dalton didn't answer. He raised the pipe high and hurled it towards the orb. Time seemed to stretch. The orb pulsed brighter as if noticing the attack. It shimmered violently, bending light around it. A voice, 1,000 strong, whispered in Dalton's head, "Give in. Take what you want. Join the fun forever." Dalton's knees buckled under the force of the hypnotic pull. The lure of perfect joy, endless games, endless prizes. But he held his ground. No, not this time. Adam grabbed a rock from the ground and threw it too. It hit the orb, shattering its surface slightly. Sparks flew, and the ringmaster screamed, staggering backward. The captives, now free of their trance, blinked rapidly, taking in the collapsing carnival. Some stumbled, some shouted warnings, some ran. Dalton's parents clutched him tightly, eyes wide but unbroken. "Dalton, Adam, get them out!" Marissa's voice cut through the chaos. She appeared from the shadows, leading a line of kids through the rubble. Dalton yelled, "Everyone, follow us! Out of here! Now!" The group sprinted towards the edge of the lot, dodging falling poles, spinning ride parts, and animated prizes that tried to lunge at them with teeth, claws, and stitched smiles. Dalton kicked a plush tiger that lunged, sending it sprawling, and Adam swung a metal rod to knock down a levitating doll, its glassy eyes shimmering malevolently. The ringmaster regained his footing and roared, a sound that split the night sky. "You dare defy me! You will all belong to me forever!" Dalton's mind raced. He realized something crucial. The ringmaster's power depended on their fear and desire. The more anyone gave in, the stronger he became. "Everyone!" Dalton shouted. "Don't look back! Don't want anything! Don't give him a thought!" For the first time, the crowd hesitated. They blinked, confused. The hypnotic influence of the carnival wavered. The ringmaster's glowing eyes flared with rage. Dalton and Adam led the group across the uneven lot, dodging the last of the collapsing rides. The Ferris wheel groaned and cracked further, carriages clanging down to the ground with terrifying force. The carousel horses collapsed, their bodies twisting unnaturally, some twitching in the dust. The orb pulsed violently at the center, shaking the very air. Dalton and Adam exchanged a glance. "Together," Dalton muttered. "Together," Adam agreed. They sprinted toward the main orb. Dalton swung the steel pipe again and again, striking with all the strength he could muster. Sparks erupted. The orb cracked. Shattering like a cracked egg, a blinding light engulfed the carnival. The ringmaster screamed, a sound that wasn't quite human, echoing in every direction. His form flickered, stretched, and then collapsed into a wisp of smoke that swirled, shrieked, and vanished. The carnival itself groaned like a dying creature. Tents collapsed, rides twisted, and the lights flickered out. The sound of laughter faded to silence, replaced by the ringing of ears and the distant wind. Dalton shielded his eyes. When the brightness faded, the lot was empty. Completely empty. The gravel and weeds were all that remained. The captives stared in disbelief. Dalton's parents blinked at him, pulling him into tight hugs. "Dalton, Adam, we don't know what happened." "I think," Dalton said, chest heaving, "we just stopped it, all of it." Marissa emerged from behind a tree, smiling faintly. "You did it. You broke the carnival's hold. But be careful. Things like that don't disappear easily. They just wait." Dalton and Adam nodded, exhausted but relieved. The group walked slowly back toward the car, keeping their eyes on the empty lot. No rides, no glowing lights, no prizes, just night and silence. Later, in their rooms, Dalton and Adam sat on their beds, staring at the ceiling. "I can't believe it's over," Adam said, voice quiet. "Me neither," Dalton replied. I thought we'd lose everyone, or worse. Adam swallowed. Do you think it'll come back? Dalton shook his head, but he wasn't sure. Maybe. But next time, we'll be ready. A faint breeze whispered past the window, carrying a faint carnival tune. Dalton shivered. Not the kind of shiver from fear this time. The kind of shiver that says, some things never truly disappear. He looked over at Adam, who gave a small, nervous laugh. Want to play one more game? Dalton asked, half joking. Adam smirked. Yeah, but this time, board games only. Dalton laughed, a sound full of relief. Outside, the world was quiet, peaceful. For now. And somewhere, deep in the shadows beyond the empty lot, the faintest glow pulsed, as if the carnival were breathing, waiting.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, stay safe.